The channel Wild Bear is built around simple, honest outdoor content. Remote mountains, isolated campsites, and the particular kind of quiet that only comes from being somewhere most people aren't. Nothing elaborate, just one person, the landscape, and whatever the weather decides to bring. On this particular trip, the weather had a lot in mind. She set out during Storm Bert, deliberately. She wanted to experience extreme conditions firsthand. Even so, she chose a sheltered location to make camp, and she came prepared. Specialized tent, heavy-duty stakes, secure guy lines, everything set up with the kind of care that comes from taking the environment seriously.
It's all set up. It's looking rock solid. So I think with the double poles and the ground anchors on the guy lines, I've given this tent the best possible chance against this weather. I'm getting cold, so I'm gonna get in and get dry now.
Once inside, she settled in to wait the storm out. The interior of the tent was unexpectedly still, almost completely isolated from what was happening outside. At moments, it felt almost too calm, like the mountain had decided to hold back, at least for now.
Can you hear that? That's the sound of wind hitting everywhere, except here. Anyway, it's 6:30 and I've had my noodles. I got all excited for a storm, and what I've actually got is very calm mountain weather. I'm using this hot pan here to try and dry my pants. It's not a sentence you hear every day, is it?
The second day brought a change of plan. An area she'd avoided on the first day due to extreme conditions was now accessible. The snow had cleared enough to move through. She made her way up and set camp again, this time in a more exposed position. Open terrain, no natural shelter breaking the wind, and the wind had grown significantly stronger.
I was just gonna say, this wind has dried all my clothes and then it chucked it down again. Never mind, eh? This is a nice pitch, you know? Ah. We're in the 50s! Wow, that was over 50 kilometers per hour! And look at that turn! It is not budging! Okay, let's get back! Woo!
As night came in, the storm showed more of what it was capable of. Sustained, powerful gusts, rain driving hard against the fabric, but everything was holding. The preparation was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. For a while, it felt controlled.
It is 11 o'clock. 10 is still holding strong. As far as I can see, I think I'm gonna finish my drink and try and get some sleep. What's to you guys in the morning? Bye.
Then lightning struck, close. The kind of crack that doesn't give you time to process it before your body already knows something is wrong. She was in the wrong place.
I didn't get that on camera, but that was a lightning strike.
A second strike followed, and in that moment, she understood something no amount of preparation could change. Out in the open, on an exposed mountain ridge, in an active lightning storm, there is no gear that makes you safe. The only right move was to leave.
And then came another. And I realised it's nearly always the thing that I'm not expecting that's going to make me question my life choices.
Right, I thought maybe it's just an isolated strike, but that was another one. And I think I have to pack up and get down now, go back to my car.
In the dark, in wind strong enough to work against every step, she broke camp and started moving downhill. The tension of each stride down that slope didn't ease until the exposed ground gave way to lower terrain and the car finally came into view. She made it out. The storm passed. But what stayed with her was the clarity of that moment when the second lightning strike hit, the recognition that preparation has limits, and nature operates well beyond them. Sometimes the most important thing you can do out there is know when to stop pushing and start moving toward the exit. Dr. Shame is a YouTuber who, by his own description, likes to complain about things he finds on the internet. That's the channel. That's always been the channel. Commentary, opinion, the occasional rant. Nothing about the woods, nothing about the wilderness. Which is exactly why when he suddenly posted a video titled "Something's Stalking Me in the Woods," it caught people off guard. It had the feel of something unplanned, a spontaneous decision to walk into a forest at night, camera running, with no particular agenda. Just a guy who thought it would be an interesting idea. It turned out to be more interesting than he bargained for.
I guess I'll go this way. I don't know, moon and why did I do this?
He was moving through the trees, keeping himself entertained, when something behind him broke the rhythm of the night.
I think he was falling down. Okay. Well, I have AIDS. Okay, well, I tripped. I still have AIDS.
One way to handle an unexpected encounter in the dark. Probably not the recommended approach, but if whatever was out there had a sense of humor, it may have worked in his favor. In this case, though, what was out there didn't appear to have a sense of humor because of the sound that followed.
Okay. Okay. That.
A hiss, audible on the recording, and notably separate from his own breathing. He was already reacting to it when it happened, which rules out the possibility that the two sounds were the same. Something was genuinely out there, close enough to make itself heard, and communicating in the clearest way animals know how. Without knowing which forest this was filmed in, pinning down exactly what made that sound is difficult. A bobcat, an opossum, possibly an alligator warning hiss, which would suggest he was a lot closer to something very dangerous than he realized. Any of those animals, when provoked or cornered, can cause serious damage. The hiss is the last warning you get before that becomes the situation. He was well within the range where that line could have been crossed. What do you think it was? By the Curb is a straightforward, no-nonsense look at van life across the UK. Real nights, real locations, no performance. On this particular night, the creator parks up on a quiet lane in Sunderland, a narrow road near a farm, very little passing traffic, the kind of spot that ticks every box for a peaceful night's sleep. He's been living in his van for 2 years. In all that time, not a single serious incident. That record ends at 5:29 in the morning.
Hey up, hope you're alright. It's 5:29 AM and I have just had the most terrifying experience of my life. I'm only still just getting over it. I've lived in my van for 2 years And you know, when you see these videos and I got the knock and stuff like that, I've always been, never happened, never gonna happen, never happened to me, never had any scary experiences like that. Not when I've been in my van anyway. I mean, I've had scary experiences, but not when I've been in my van. Anyway, so last night I've come to Sunderland because I'm doing a vlog. My next vlog's going to be about Sunderland. But I've got some footage and I'll put it on. And then I'll see you in a bit.
He's fast asleep when something slams directly above his head, the kind of impact that doesn't let you ease into being awake. It yanks you there, heart hammering, body already flooded with adrenaline before his mind has caught up to what's happening.
You're going to go and take it to the section of this one. No, I see it.
He reaches for the blind and pulls it down slowly. There is a face pressed against the glass, right there in the dark, inches from where he was sleeping. In 2 years of van life across the UK, nothing has come close to this.
And you see a on the front, his father was a Briton. His father, his grandfather, was a Briton, and I'm the back. Did not work no one. I'm not the third door. I'm not the private rig. I'm not a first is an English footballer. And now reef, I don't know what it means. You see when you put on the dead people who you're supposed to love. Concept, I've never heard this one. Of our new modern technology.
He grabs his phone and starts recording. The man outside is shouting, erratic, loud, and then he starts writing something on the rear window of the van.
So I've got some nutter shouting outside van. Look at my shoes on. It's still there, look. It's coming back.
He lies completely still, hands shaking, listening and waiting, hoping the man loses interest and moves on. And then another bang hits the van, massive, deliberate. He pulls the blind down slowly again. The face is back at the window.
I'm laid in bed. My hand's shaking. Bloody hell. I'm laid in bed with my head up that end, and then there's a massive almighty bang. Absolutely scared the life out of me. I didn't know what I thought it was. I just thought it was some, like it was some drunk or something like that. So I pulled blind down slowly, because I've got CCTV, but they're all like misted up, so you couldn't see anything. I pulled blind down slowly, and there's a bloody face at the window. Then he wrote something up that window. I don't know, I'll have a look at that when it's light. So I've taken my table down, and I've got that.
For 30 minutes, he sits there in the dark, listening to the man outside shouting. The content of it is disturbing. References to mental health, to what's going on in his head, delivered in a tone that doesn't feel harmless. The words coming through the glass carry a weight that makes the situation feel genuinely unpredictable.
And I've just sat here probably for about 30 minutes listening to him shouting at Van. I was peeking at him through a window, and he sounded very threatening, going on about mental health issues and being stabbed in the head and all stuff like that. So you're thinking, oh God, we've got one here. But I think I don't know. I'm saying I didn't feel as scared as I thought, but I did, probably. But I thought, worst comes to worst, I could get out and confront him. And it was probably one of them people that, you know, during the course of the day, just random nutter just shouting stuff that they're not that scary, but with that situation, because I'd just been shocked like that, my heart's still going.
The obvious move would be to start the engine and drive away, put distance between himself and whatever is standing outside his window at 5 in the morning on a deserted lane, but he can't. The van is facing the wrong direction, dead end behind him, condensation clouding the windows, no room to turn around, completely hemmed in, with no exit available.
I thought I'd get in cab and drive off, but I'm facing wrong way. It's a dead end down there. So that's something to bear in mind in future. But that's the first time in 2 years. That is the first time anything remotely like that has happened. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, like near a farm. Well, you'll see, I don't know if it'll get on this vlog or whatever, you'll see where I am. I'm still not going to be negative about van life or all like that. As I said, it's first time in 2 years this has happened. But I think you should just take a little bit of precautions, like even just little things like thinking about what way you parked so you can get away quick. But I wouldn't have been able to get away that quick because all wind is steamed up in it, you know, with condensation.
Eventually, the man drifts further down the lane. The shouting carries on into the distance, moving away from the van and toward whatever comes next. He sits in the dark and waits, not moving, just listening, until the lane outside goes quiet enough that he's fairly sure it's finally over.
Right, it's moved on, it's gone down there. I don't know if there's some more motorhomes down there that he's shouting at now. I think it's probably pretty harmless. That just freaked me out though, that. I don't know what to do. I don't think I've got enough space to do a U-turn here. I don't know if you can see him at distance. Another van's come and he's buggered off now. I don't know what's going on down there. I think there's some sort of, I don't know, farm or depot or something like that.
2 years on the road, not a single night like this one, and the thing he takes away from it isn't to quit van life, it's to always park somewhere you can get out of quickly, because on a night like this, the one thing he couldn't do was leave. May 17th, 2023, Kenmir Castle, New Galloway, Scotland. The footage comes from Lore and Explore, a UK channel dedicated to uncovering the history buried inside Scotland's forgotten ruins, documenting the stories those walls still hold, one solo wild camping trip at a time. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. A tent is being pitched directly facing the castle as the daylight begins to drain away. Kenmir Castle is a 4-story roofless ruin. Centuries of weathering have done their work, and somewhere on its grounds lies a legendary burial site, the resting place of a headless piper said to haunt the ruins once the dark comes in.
Something a bit different. This is a haunted castle camp. It's where the headless piper's buried. A bit spooky tonight. I have my trusty companion tonight. And what I can see as well, that's not the original stonework outside for a castle. Well, if I say castle, it's probably more a mansion house than a castle, but
The stonework showed no graffiti, only what time and weather had done to it across centuries. He walked the grounds and talked through the legend, the headless piper, the haunting, the story that locals have been passing around for generations. He explored what remained of the structure, spiral staircases, collapsed turrets, faded coats of arms still visible on the stone, before setting up the tent directly in front of the castle walls. By the time everything was in place, he was alone at the site, with that story still sitting fresh in the back of his mind.
I don't think you much any more smell. I don't think you get much more spookier than that. Wee Perry's kind of whining there. Maybe she senses something untoward. Something lurking behind those castle walls.
The night came with its own soundtrack. Geese, a male red deer calling out somewhere nearby. Each sound had a rational explanation in daylight, but in complete darkness, beside the hollow shell of a 400-year-old ruin, every noise arriving from an unseen direction carries a different kind of weight. Together, all at once, the effect was something difficult to shake.
There's bats out now. I've just spotted a bat as well. Jesus Christ, the f was that? So we got bats, geese, a male deer roaring. Something's going psst in the background. Birds twittering, sheep baaing. Oh man. Hopefully this camera can pick it up there. It's really loud. You're going to get a wink sleep tonight. That's for sure. It's too much going on. Hear that? Jeez, oh. Noises everywhere. So that is it for tonight. It's after midnight. Myself and Perry are going to get some sleep here. It's absolutely miserable here, but we're going to get a bit of shut eye. So most of the noises that we heard earlier on have now settled down now, and unless some kind of headless piper playing bagpipes can appears.
Later in the night, the sounds started coming from inside the castle itself. Heavy bangs, deep, resonant creaks echoing out of the dark interior, from a building that was supposed to be completely empty. There was no quick explanation for any of it. He lay there listening, and whatever hope he'd had for a straightforward night's sleep quietly gave way to something else. Eventually, past midnight, the activity settled. The sounds tapered off. He and Perry managed to get some rest. Morning came with mist wrapped around the castle walls. The night had passed. No headless piper, no definitive explanation for what had been making those noises in the dark. Just an ancient ruin, a lingering legend, and a night that was considerably harder to sleep through than expected. Trail Off started as a simple hiking vlog based out of New Zealand. Quiet trails, green landscapes, the kind of outdoor content that asks nothing difficult of its audience. On January 26, 2026, that changed. The foothills of the Tararua Ranges, about 10 minutes north of Apiti, a stretch of trail Graham had come to walk on a perfectly ordinary Saturday afternoon. Dense forest, sunlight cutting through the canopy, leaves underfoot. It was supposed to be another peaceful day out. Unremarkable. The kind you don't even bother telling people about afterward. One misstep changed all of that.
Fallen trees and... oh gosh. Well, I'm on the ground right now. I've stepped down onto a root and it's given way, and I've heard a snap either in the root or in my ankle, and now I'm in a bit of pain. So I guess this is a really good opportunity for me to document what I'm doing to get myself out of this situation. I want to be clear, this is not pretend. It's a real life survival situation now where I've hurt myself. I don't know how badly. I've already called loudly for help. No one has heard, and there's every chance that at 2:39 p.m. in the afternoon on a Saturday, there's a chance I might be the last person through this trail. for the day.
His foot came down on a hidden root. The root gave way. There was a sharp snap, and Graham hit the ground. He lay there, breathing through it, trying to take stock of what had just happened. His ankle was screaming, and somewhere beneath the shock, a quiet, clear thought was forming, that this was serious.
My first thought was that I'd broken my ankle. And so if I've done that, there's no way that I can get out of here on my own. And from experience with breaks, the pain is going to get substantially worse when I'm out of shock, if I'm in shock, which I possibly am. This sucks. The idea of having to set off my beacon is... I don't want to do that.
His first thought was a break, and if it was a break, there was no version of this where he walked out on his own, not before dark, not on this trail. He had a PLB, a personal locator beacon, clipped to his gear, the kind of device you carry and hope you never need to use. He stared at it. He knew what activating it meant. Search and rescue, a helicopter, people pulling themselves away from their Saturday to come find him in the trees. He wasn't ready to make that call yet, not until he knew for certain.
Basically what I think I have to do is test walking on it a bit. It's real sore. There's a branch fallen further down the track. I'm going to get my stuff, especially my PLB, and get there and get myself situated and reevaluate. I fell over there. Like...
He dressed in warmer layers, gathered himself, and started talking through it, partly to the camera, partly to stay focused. He got a message out through his GPS device to emergency services, flagging his position and situation, and then he waited. Out there in the quiet, with the light slowly shifting through the canopy overhead, he held on to the one thing he could still control, staying calm. Then he heard it, somewhere above the forest, a helicopter.
So that definitely sounds like a helicopter. I don't know. I can't really move. I want to get up and wave stuff around, but I can't. So, yeah. Stupid, but the second you see the helicopter, you think, I'm in this clearing. How can you not have seen me? Fuck. Please see me. Please.
A rescue team came through the canopy, winching down into the trees to reach him. The medics confirmed what he'd feared, a small fracture on the outside of the ankle. Bad enough, but not the worst-case scenario his mind had been quietly building towards since the moment he hit the ground. They got him into a harness, guided him up through the branches, and lifted him out. The forest that had felt so threatening an hour earlier now shrank away beneath him as the helicopter crossed the Hutt Valley. By 9 o'clock that evening, he was home. Afterward, Graham talked about preparation, about the value of keeping a clear head when everything tells you not to, about how the beacon, the layers, the GPS, none of it felt necessary that morning when he was packing his bag, and all of it mattered by the time the light started fading. Trail Off's channel exists because days like this one happen, because the wilderness doesn't negotiate and it doesn't give warnings. One ordinary step on one ordinary afternoon in a forest that looked like 100 forests he'd walked before. That's all it takes. And that's it for tonight's video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. New videos drop every week and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below. Which story got to you the most? Or share your own if something like this has ever happened to you. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.